Welcome to the Preach Wizards podcast. Today we're going to do a quick Bucks recap from the game on March 5th, 2023. And we're also going to take a look at the upcoming Wizards schedule and compare it to the teams currently placed 6th through 9th in the Eastern Conference. And we'll hopefully answer that question, can the Wizards still make a playoff run? All that coming up on the Preach Wizards podcast. You know what time it is. It's time to preach. That was a tough loss to Milwaukee yesterday. The Wizards had a great effort. But still, we take that march. Oh man, what can I say? We put up a good fight against Milwaukee on March 5th. That would have been yesterday from when I'm filming this. And I just had a couple of notes I wanted to go over, just give you some of my thoughts on the game. The first thing I have to say is, how good is Jrue Holiday? Man, if we could have him as our floor general and point guard, I think we'd have no problem making a 3rd to 5th seed. I've said on my last episode that I think the good teams are, and that's being generous, but really are 6 through 10 in the Eastern Conference. The great teams are 1 through 5 and fighting in and out of there. So this year, the Wizards need to become a good team and make that 6 through 10 slot. Next year, we can hopefully make the next step to become a great team. We all know it's going to be a pretty interesting offseason to see what ends up happening with Kuzma or Porzingis, although people have made up their minds about some of those situations. A couple of other notes from the Milwaukee game. Deni Avdija should play sick more often. Man, he had a great game and stepped up. I think the past 5 to 6 games, we have seen a different Deni on the floor, and he is letting the game come to him, which is really mature for his age. And I think that players like Kyle Kuzma, really Kuzma on our team, and Porzingis does a little bit of this too, they seem to force the ball. Like, Kuzma's had the moments and, of course, loves being clutch Kuz and taking those big shots down the stretch. But it makes sense to be that guy when the shot comes to you. But if you're trying to force that shot, we crash and burn to the ground. And I know Kuzma was not playing yesterday, but there's been so many moments this season to where so many Wizards players can just force the offense and not try and set something up. And we've all seen it late in the fourth quarter. There's a little bit of that from Bradley Beal yesterday, the classic Beal ISO ball that leads to turnovers late in the fourth quarter. You know, we've been living with that for a while, so there's nothing new there. But Deni's had a great game yesterday. Turbo really turning it on. And yeah, I think for him, his stock is just going up and up. And I hope that he continues the way that he's been playing for these past 5 or 6 games, because I've been noticing a completely different Deni, and he's not deciding to drive the lane because he thinks, oh, it's time to score, right? He's doing it when it happens naturally, which is a tough thing to do. So big ups to Deni. So glad that he's turning into the player that we're seeing, because we need him. And maybe he'll rise as that scorer off the bench we've been looking for. Who knows? Another note, Jordan Goodwin, I thought, had some great game and great hustle throughout the game. Let me see here. Late, I believe it was in the third quarter, we were on a roll in our comeback, and there was a great offensive foul, or excuse me, no, we were on offense, and Goodwin got knocked over setting a screen, and it was just a great momentum builder for us because we were already either very close to being in the lead or had a small lead. So Goodwin always makes those impact plays that we all love. But there is still a part of Jordan Goodwin. I don't know if this is just going to come with more minutes, but like I saw the ball get ripped away from him so many times yesterday, and when he would drive the lane, and it just seemed like it was like easy grabs for the other team. So there is this part of Jordan Goodwin's game where he just doesn't seem like that pro that you want. Like that, like it seemed like when he would drive the lane, the players were going like, "All right, this is easy money. Like we're knocking the ball out of this guy's hand." So, but we've seen Goodwin step up, make some big shots. He's got a nice step back. But I'd love to see him build on that because his hustle is always going to be there. But hopefully his, NBA skill can just continue to rise. But I think Jordan Goodwin is the first sort of rise up from the G League in a while, or just a piece for the Wizards that came out in sort of nothing, right? We didn't have to use a big first round pick. So I think Goodwin is that guy. Invest in him and keep him growing because all they said is we want some dogs in DC. You got one. You got one in Jordan Goodwin. So don't let him go away. Another thing I wanted to mention was the Wizards seem to be playing with a lot of urgency in this Bucks game. And I had to ask myself, where did this urgency come from? Was it because we were playing the Milwaukee Bucks? Or was it because we are in a playoff race? Like we're trying to make the playoffs. And it felt like it was because we were playing the Milwaukee Bucks that we had to step up and sort of rise to the occasion. The Wizards do this often. Whenever... I've heard it said so many times where when we're supposed to win a game, the Wizards, when they're supposed to win, we often lose. And when we're supposed to lose a game, we win. Like we always have that weird flip-flop in the league. And that just comes from our lack of consistency. And it seems to me that in every game since the All-Star break, the Wizards have been focusing on the stat line that was the worst part of their game. For example, we had 24 turnovers when we played Toronto. I actually don't know how many we had yesterday, but I without looking, I know it was significantly less. I know that we cared more about the turnovers. And I was just talking about this. Actually, the Wizards seemed to have a game plan yesterday. People were way too aggressive after this loss. I saw some fan messages, and the thing I loved about that game was, one, we gave them a good effort. That was a great effort against a great team. But two, it seems like we had a plan. We didn't just watch the Wizards go out there and just lose, and we're like, what was that? We watched the Wizards, play a lot of zone, double Giannis when they could. A couple other players ended up in a double team when it was appropriate. We run that 3-2 zone, which is interesting, 3 up top. It seemed to really be working in the third quarter. I believe Giannis was sitting out. As soon as he came back in the game, his just big body and passing led to some of these wide open threes. But as you saw, at a very, very pivotal point of the game, they called Bradley Beal out of bounds on the baseline. Giannis did the same exact thing the next possession down, stepped out of bounds clearly. Refs did not call it, led to a wide open Grayson Allen 3. And pretty much from that play on, the game was over. Not going to blame the loss on the refs. However, it could have been a little bit of a different game had Giannis been called on that as well. So I don't want to take anything away from either team. But again, where's the urgency from the Wizards coming from? They need to feel the way that they feel when they play these top market teams all the time, and dominate the games that we should win. Next, we're playing Detroit. Let's treat them like we treated the Bucks, and if we play that way with that sense of urgency, we will crush this team. I hope we see something like that tomorrow. Whereas sometimes we do what's called playing to the other team's level, right? Let's not do that. Let's shut out the Pistons like we know we can. So let's see if the Wizards can turn that around tomorrow. Let's see. I mean, a couple other things about Denny. And the last thing I want to mention is there was I even wrote the time here because you guys, I think people can be too tough on Bradley Beal. And I just wanted to say, I wrote at 7:22. So that must have been 7 minutes and 22 seconds left in the fourth quarter. I wrote bad Giannis pass to a turnover. Excuse me. Bad Giannis pass to a turnover in crunch time. So that was a tough one. I'm just going to take a sip of water quick. So sorry about that. So that was a tough play. Bad play for Giannis in crunch time. I know Beal leads the league in that stat. However, I just want to keep making the point that other star players that are getting paid what someone like Bradley Beal is getting paid are doing this too. It just maybe like they're not going to show that pass over and over again on SportsCenter. So guess what? How many people were watching the Giannis or the Bucks Wizards game? Probably not a lot. Overall, if we're talking to every fan of every franchise. So I just want to keep bringing up these points to say other stars do it too. Giannis did not take over this game at the end and win it for his team. Absolutely not. Other players were making big shots. Period. That's how we lost. They were wide open threes. Those players hit those wide open threes. Giannis did not have a good second half. That's my opinion. My last thing I'll say, since I'm already being harsh, I will say that KP's Kristaps Porzingis for the Wizards, his lack of scoring in the second half is absolutely what lost us this game. I think I read a stat that he had 15 points heading into the third quarter and ended the game with 18. I can't believe he made any because I thought he missed every shot he had in the second half. So, and he was playing small ball. He's one of those bigs that he's 7'1" or something, and he tries to play like he's Derrick Rose in his heyday, like a 6-foot guard. He needs to play big basketball like Daniel Gafford. It's just when he plays small ball and does these cute little moves to try and make it, he had an opportunity to back down Drew Holiday. Looks like it would take two of Drew Holiday standing on top of his shoulders to match Porzingis' height. Porzingis got out-muscled by him, didn't get anywhere close to the basket, and then nearly airballed a shot. So Porzingis to me is like a huge reason for that loss because we can't. Beal turned it on in the second half, and it can't just be all him. Someone else has to do something. Porzingis is that guy. Porzingis didn't step up. That's all I got to say about that. Okay, moving on from the Bucks game, we're going to take a look at the upcoming schedule for the Wizards. I'll try and make this quick, but I'd like to do a little stat sheet for teams 6 through 10. So we got the Nets, the Heat, the Hawks, the Raptors. I've actually got this up on my other screen here, so let me make sure that that's correct. Okay, cool. So we've got the Nets, the Heat, the Hawks, Raptors, the Wizards. And I'm going to keep track on my little notepad here for us. Okay, looking at the Wizards, we are 30-34. All right, Wiz here. And the reason I want to keep this down is to get the end record here. So Wiz, we got the Raptors are right in front of us in 9th place, and they are 32-33. All right, and after that we have the Hawks in 8th place, and they are... Sorry, you guys, lots of writing here. The Hawks are 32-32. Nice record at 500 there. In the 7th seed, the Heat are 34-31. So I'll do Heat 34-31. And the Nets are 36-28 in the 6th seed. All right, 36-28. Now remember, that record was built with a Kyrie and I think Kevin Durant. I mean, I know he was injured up there. Anywho, let's hop into the Wizards' upcoming schedule. So tomorrow we play the Pistons. And we're just going to do a quick win-loss here on these games. I won't do too much discussion. I think after a day's rest and 2 tough losses for the Wizards the past 2 games, it's going to be a W. So we'll do win for the first one. And then we play the Hawks. We'll say that we're going to go 1-1 with them. I think the Hawks come on a revenge tour in the first game. We lose that. So win, and then we'll say loss, and we play the Hawks again. Again, these are all games with that 6 through 8 seeds coming up. So this is huge. I say the Hawks game, the second one we win. So we have win, loss, win, and we'll just do 6 games. Win, loss, win. 76ers, I think that they are playing good as of late, and they're going to take the playoff race here in the second half series. I say that's an L for us, but part of me thinks the Wizards could win that game. We see Detroit again. I'm going to say that's a dub. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then after Detroit, Cleveland, that I'm saying is an L. So the Wizards, we have 3 wins and 3 losses coming up. So that would make our new record 33 and 37. Not as good as I was hoping when I went through this in my head, but we're going to move on now to the Toronto Raptors. Okay, the Toronto Raptors at 32 and 33 record. First up, they play the Nuggets. That's an L. Nuggets at the top of the West. Next up, they play the Clippers. I'm going to say that I really don't know between the Clippers and the Lakers. Let's say that they get one of those games. Let's say the Clippers game is also an L. They beat the Lakers. And then we're playing the Nuggets again. That's an L. And then they play the Thunder. We'll give them a W for that one. Loss, loss, win, loss, win. And then they're playing the Timberwolves. Oh, and after that, the Bucks. I'm going to give them a loss against the Timberwolves as well. So that is 2 wins, 4 losses. So 34 and 37. So that still puts them a game ahead of us. But now let's move on to the Hawks, and I'll just do a record recap after this. All right, so looking at the Hawks, we are at 32 and 32, even Steven. So they play the Heat today. I'll have to remember this. I'll put this in the Heat stat. I'm going to say Heat win this. So I'll do Hawks lose, and I'll put a W in the Heat category now. Then we play the Wizards. Ooh, I said that we would lose that game. So the Hawks get a W and then an L because they're going to lose to us after that. They are going to lose to the Celtics, which is the next game. They are going to lose to the Timberwolves, and they are going to lose to the Warriors. So I think the Hawks tank here. No, but they're going to take a dive. That is 1 win, 5 losses. For the Hawks, that's 33 and 37. Let's move on to the Heat now. All right, the Heat, upcoming games. The Hawks game, we said they get a dub. Moving on to the Cavs. Ooh, 2 Cavs games. I'll have them split with them, although the Cavs could win both. We'll just do loss, win. Magic will give the Heat a win. The Jazz will give the Heat a win. The Grizzlies will give them an L. So 4 wins, 2 losses. Okay. That gives them a record of 38 and 33. Thanks for being patient here. Last one, the Nets. Taking a look at the Brooklyn Nets. Tomorrow they play the Rockets. We'll give them a dub for that one. So win. And then they play the Milwaukee Bucks. We'll give them a loss. And then the Timberwolves, I keep giving Timberwolves all these wins. Let's give the Timberwolves an L. So the Nets will win that game. They will lose to the Nuggets. They will beat the Thunder. Again, they will lose to the Kings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 3 and 3. 39 and 31. Okay, so now we're going to answer the question, where do the Wizards sit in the next 6 games? So still at the top of the heap in the 6th seed. Excuse me, y'all. The Nets, Brooklyn Nets, sitting at 39 and 31 for the upcoming games. The 7th seed, we still have the Miami Heat sitting at 38 and 33. And let's go to the 8th seed. This is actually going to be the, let's see, 33. Oh, wow. No, I was wrong earlier, you guys. This would be the Washington Wizards in the 8th seed at 33 and 37. Oops. Nope, wrong about that. It would be the Raptors. So Nets, Heat, Raptors. 9th seed would be the Washington Wizards at 33 and 37. And I'm going to put these stat lines in the comments so you can look at them as well. And then the 10th seed, the Atlanta Hawks at, I think they would actually be tied with us. So we pretty much would be sitting right around where we were last, but a game behind the Raptors. So it's important to look ahead at the schedule to kind of get a sense of what the Wizards could really do. If we go 3-3, so win 3, lose 3 of these next 6 games, which is really, really doable, then we could jump up to 9th place. Really, if we do better than that, I think we're in 8th place, guaranteed. So a 4-2 record in these next games puts us in 8th, is what we've learned today. Realistically, we are hunting for that 6th seed, but we see how hard that really is going to be with some of the teams we're playing as of late. The Wizards need to, what we've learned is the Wizards need to go on a run. So to answer the question, can the Wizards still make a playoff run at this point in the season? Yes, the answer is yes, they can, but they need to play, consistent basketball. Can we play consistent basketball for the rest of the season? That I am just unsure. So just like I played you in, I will play you out all the same with our funeral march. I hope that we march into the next game with a little bit more pep in our step, ready to beat the Detroit Pistons tomorrow. Hey, you guys, praise the Wizards. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for being here. Let's go, Wizards. Get Detroit.